Today we're going to be reacting to your setups. I actually set up a form of people who wanted to submit their setups, and today we're going to be doing that. Initially, I had an all white setup that was secure and anime themed. Eventually, I got sick of the bright colors since I use this desk for long work hours as well. It was starting to get straining on my eyes. I started gradually tuning in more to the ambient productive setup, hence why I moved it in front of my window. Okay, cool. We'll check out the upgrades after we look at it. Honestly, I just love the vibe. Like, look at it. I love like the wood with the window, and it's just like all of it fits together. I don't know how like he made the vibes immaculate here, but everything fits. The wood handrest is sick, and it matches the desk exactly. It also just like the keyboard and the mouse pad, and then like from the PC to the monitors, like everything just has like symmetry, plus it's got a lot of natural light, which I like in setups. Every time I see like some sort of setup like this where it's got nature in the background and has some sort of natural light on a window, I really like it. The charger on this side, and then like I don't know what this is either on the right side, just like the symmetry between both is really good. And then on top of that, his cable management's pretty good as well. The only cable you can like really see here is the keyboard cable, and it's a coiled cable, so I'm not really going to be picky about that. Just look at the aesthetic vibes. Like, I love the keycaps with the handrest, and then the coffee. It's really good. I really like the aesthetic of his PC. Like, if I only saw this, I would be really impressed, right? And I am still impressed with the setup, but this picture makes me question how the setup looks entirely, right? The PC almost stands out in a bad way, and I'm not saying the PC looks bad. It's just like the color combo with the way you have everything else. I feel like in this picture, this is a different keyboard. But like in this picture, right, where it's more aesthetic, like I feel like it just doesn't really fit. So like I said, this setup, I just really love the aesthetics. I mean, overall, he did an insane job. I would love to see what's on this left side of the room. I see some sort of Gobi glide right here. I think it is honestly incredible the way that you set up everything. And also you did share this with me as well, that you built this in some way. I think you made some of these keycaps and woodworking or whatever you were doing with it. Honestly, really cool. The wood spacebar is interesting. I think that's like the most interesting thing I've seen, because like a wooden spacebar, that's insane. The cable management's great too. I mean, it's not like the best cable management ever, like it's not the most hidden, but for the most part, when you look at the setup, I mean, you don't really see that many wires, right? There's like one or two. I just love the aesthetics you got going on, and congrats on, you know, finding a setup that works for you, because like not taking every avenue and like being like, you know, the trendy person on TikTok. Some people kind of get lost in like other people's ideas and stuff and only use what they use. Like finding your own path on that is great. I think that's especially why your setup is insanely good. Thank you for submitting. I appreciate you, Sterling. What an amazing setup. Thank you. Moving on. This is RSJ. My objective has always been to have the ideal setup. I watched numerous YouTubers brag about their setup, which made me tremendously envious. I worked incredibly hard to achieve the most ideal productivity setup, and my future plans include me getting another monitor, and that's pretty much all. When I first started, my setup was terrible and had very little desk space, perhaps just a laptop. All right. This one did strike me a little bit because I really liked what he has going. Not because of what it looks like right now, because it does look a little bit messy. I just think that if he cleaned this setup, look at the view, chat. Look at the view on this setup. I think he's, I believe he said he was 15 in this setup, or someone was like, he was like 16 to 15. This is really cool. And I just love where he's at. This is a beautiful vibe here. I think this entire setup has so much potential, especially as a 15 or 16-year-old kid. The view is insanely crazy. I just love the view. You need to maybe just sell this desk. I feel like it doesn't really fit with the vibe you're trying to go for. Just go like for a countertop desk, because you have all this room, and I feel like an 8-foot countertop would fit exactly perfect in here. I don't really think that the L shape is really that needed for what you're trying to build. If you did that, then that would also clean up a lot of your cables that you have down here as well. Like all of this stuff could be easily fixed with like actual cable management, like with 3M, with different versions of Jade Raceways and stuff like that. All of this could be easily fixed. I love that you got like a whole mini fridge and stuff like that. You could even maybe use an Alex drawer and an extension just to make sure that your fridge fits underneath your desk, and that would even be cool too. So I think it would be really cool to do something like that. Thank you for submitting. It was a great setup. Came from console gaming, and I found a friend of mine who convinced me to get a PC. And so I did my research and learned a lot about PCs. But when I was 14 at the time, I couldn't afford one. When I turned 15, I started a summer job where I was selling strawberries and working at a daycare. That's kind of cool. So I built my first gaming PC, and I was happy with the whole PC except the GPU. This is mid 2021. I could only get a hold of a GTX 1650, so I waited all summer of 2022. Started working again and bought a 3070W. So we're gonna check out his setup. This is the first picture. I think it's, let's think about it here a little bit. Let's look through the pictures. Okay, so this is like the first setup we're looking at. Let's see, take a look. Take a look. Whoa. I mean, the cables are there. You know, I love the color aesthetics you're kind of building in the setup. From the mouse pad to the wallpaper to your PC, it all flows very well. And I think chat will agree. The only thing that somewhat doesn't really sit right with me is this left side of the desk. And like where you have this router and like, I don't know what this, like, this doesn't really fit in the spot that you have it. I feel like it just kind of separates what you're trying to build. Dude, stop. Guys. What am I gonna do, mother? I'm never getting through these setups, am I? I'm never getting through these setups, man. So as I was saying, the router on the desk, I just feel like doesn't really fit here. I feel like there's a better place for it, and maybe it's behind your PC. I mean, I don't mind like the little art sculpture thing you have here. I think that would even look better where this is if you just move this closer and put this router on the right side. If you can't do that, totally fine. It would just make it a little bit better. On this side of the setup, it just feels awkward. It's like there's two things and there's one thing, and it just doesn't seem symmetrical. The cable management is people just put this like Sigma rack here and then they call it a day. I feel like J raceways are better, especially since, yes, this works in the sense of just throwing your cables there and leaving it, but it doesn't really like have a purpose. It's just like, it's just there and all the cables are there and you still see all of this drooping down. The best way, in my opinion, is from my cable manager video, is putting the J raceway there and hiding the power strip behind that. That way, like, you're not showing it right here and it's not maybe hitting your legs. It's like further back and it's like away from everything. I feel like overall the aesthetic, the mouse pad I really like. I think you did a really good job with like the aesthetic from all the colors in your setup. And I do like how it doesn't really intrude on any part of the room. It just feels like it all fits really well. So good job on that. The one thing I will say too, though, I think that speaker's behind there. I could be wrong, but if they are moving this router to the right side and you could maybe center your monitor a little bit more left, you might have room for both speakers to be on both sides. If you can find something similar to this mouse pad on a wallpaper, that would be clean too. But the wallpaper does work in the setup, in my opinion, with like the colors. If you enjoyed that video, watch this one next, and don't forget to follow the Twitch down below. See you there.